happy place. In my happy place again. My daughter, she's sleeping. Of course, she fell asleep right when I was about to leave the house. I was hoping that she would stay up so I can burn her out at the beach, but she fell asleep. So figured I was already in the car, already driving, so I might as well go ahead and come on out, get out the house. We was in for a little bit, feeding her some lunch and just kind of strolling through the media, looking to see what was going on in the world. Today's going pretty well. Hey, what's up, Roostin? No, I don't have my Bible right now, but I had it earlier. I did a video earlier. I don't know if you saw it. The devil all the time. I broke down Thessalonians, the chapter 13. I broke it down earlier. I'm gonna come on later and do another live. I'll have my Bible then. You can come and check it out. Were you able to pull up the scripture and do some studying? Yeah, check out my devil all the time video. I did a scripture reading earlier. This is kind of a spur of the moment live. I didn't really plan this. Me and my daughter was gonna go to the beach, but she ended up falling asleep. So I just said, fuck it, might as well just stay out here. But yeah, I didn't bring my Bible. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's all good. Wanted to kind of break down. I was looking at the news today. White-only communities. I want to say in Arkansas, they have this organization called Return to the Land. They're working on establishing white-only communities in the whole United States and all 50 countries. And apparently the organization has legal right because I guess they're kind of finding like legal loopholes to where the government can't really prevent them, you know, from establishing these communities. So I just wanted to see what you guys thought about this. White-only communities. You know, a lot of people will say it's because America doesn't want black history, white history to be taught in schools, which is why these white organizations tend to keep this sort of like fire to continue repeating history, because if people were to discover what the history was, then essentially the plan would be exposed. We all kind of know where, you know, white racism and segregation leads to. But apparently this organization is their intentions behind these white-only communities is they want to be able to choose their neighbors. They want to, in a way, segregate from other races and other cultures who may not share the same values as them. It's being really controversial. I'm going to share the link here inside the chat. Let me see. I'll share the link in here so you guys can check it out. White-only communities, what do you guys think? Why don't I bring my wife? My wife is in California. She flew to California yesterday to figure out the property and the real estate for her house. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, people have been showing love. Hey, what's up, random stuff? So I'm doing good, man. I'm blessed. I'm just, any fish in that lake? I doubt it. Probably some further out in the Pacific. I'm pretty sure there is. People are out here. People fish out here a lot. They fish out here a lot. That's one thing I'm gonna start looking into. But yeah, my wife, she went back to California to figure out what she's gonna do with the house, whether she's gonna rent it or sell it. You know, she wants to go to Christian school out here in Kona. She has a lot of things she needs to figure out. So I kept the baby to give the wife a time to kind of take a break, you know. So white-only communities. The reason why I'm talking about this is because you better believe if black people were so like just hell-bent on segregating from white people and we did black-only communities, which some people will argue, well, you know, you do have a black-only community. It's called the projects, Randy. It's called the fucking ghetto, you know, but you have a lot of white people who live in the ghetto too. I'm from Detroit. We had white boys at our school, you know, it wasn't many. And that was ghetto as hell, you know, but we had different cultures and stuff in there. But there's this movement going on. I hope you guys are paying attention, where you have white groups who are legally creating towns and societies only specifically, you know, for white people. And not all white people agree with this. You've been having a lot of white people arguing and really debating this in the media and on really speaking their voice up. And salute to you white folks out there that can see through the BS, you know, and not afraid to. What I'm noticing, like, we got to figure out what we're gonna do with these white racists, guys. They're very, very tricky. They kind of attack people through intimidation. You know, white people are quick, racist white people especially, are quick to tell on you, right? They put a lot of fear in people in terms of being able to speak. White people don't like when people speak the truth. You know, I noticed that. Not all whites, but white, I don't know what it is, if it's in some folks' DNA or what, if there's like a truth serum or what. And this is not me being disrespectful to white folks. You got white people that don't mind telling the truth, but they'll even admit they got family members that just do not like the truth. What's that? I'm about 15% white. I did a DNA test and I was shocked. I was like, damn, I'm 15% white. I had to talk to my grandma. I'm like, who was sleeping with who? Why you ain't tell me what the hell's going on? You know, my grandma, she looked white, so I naturally grew up in an environment where I didn't have a lot of negativity towards white people growing up. You know, so yo there, I'm a young brother from the hood. I got an issue that I'm only attracted to pogs, white butts. It's become irresistible to me. What's wrong with me? Can you fix me? Fat ass white girl. I mean, if it's nothing wrong with being attracted to white girls. I'm not saying go out there and hate white people. You know, I'm mixed with white. I have so many fucking cousins. I had to do research on my own to figure out that are white, okay, that I didn't even know about. So I can't, you know, we're all connected at some level. So this is not me hating on them, but there's a portion of white folks that just hate the idea of just being in the same environment or merging with people of color. And it's not just black people, Mexicans, Asians, you fucking name it. They just don't want to deal with it. Everybody got a right to their opinion, you know. But when it becomes something where you're creating communities across the United States that are specifically, you know, white only, that's not a good message, especially to, you know, really extremist groups out there who really take pride in, you know, hunting down people of color and take pride in that animosity, you know, towards other cultures, you know. So anyway, they're starting these white only communities, and by the way, it looks like the government is basically giving it a pass. You know, ain't nobody saying nothing to them. You know, Lord forbid somebody challenge them. And I just wanted to kind of talk about it, man. But yeah, you can like white girls, man. It don't matter if they got fat asses, skinny asses, no asses. I don't give a damn. Who you like is who you like. I can't judge your human impulse and interests and preferences, and I can't get into your psychology. You know, I'm not Xavier from X-Men where I can just manipulate what you like, what you don't like. If you like white women, that's fine. There's nothing wrong. Human beings are human beings. You know, all this race shit is just narratives. You know, not all white women are the same. Not all black women are the same. So if that's what you're attracted to, there's nothing wrong with that. You know, I'm not gonna sit up here and say, oh, you need to do this to get out of this shit with white girls. No, if you like them, that's your business. You know, everybody got their own preferences and, you know, who they like and who they don't like. You know, I don't get into that. Oh, you shouldn't like them. You know, you need to like your culture. Nah, you know, like who you want to like who you feel like God put in your life to, you know, bring you happiness. You know, that could be anybody. You know, I don't believe in that shit, but I appreciate you being honest and no coming what he says. But my dad says that they unfaithful. Like what happened to O.J. Simpson. Yeah, man, you're talking about like people who are like famous, and, you know, anytime you're dealing with Hollywood and people who got stardom and notoriety and all of that stuff, that's like a whole different community. You know, they don't speak for the group. You know what I'm saying? Like O.J. Simpson and all of that shit, that's something different than what the everyday black man is dealing with. You got white women who are really loyal to black men and who are holding them down, been married for 30, 40 years. You know, just go on social media. You see the shit everywhere. So it's not, I wouldn't say they're unfaithful, and just like I wouldn't say black women are unfaithful. You know, it just depends on the person. You know, are there people who are unfaithful who happen to be white, happen to be black? Hell yeah, but it's not because of their race. It's not because of, when you ever say a white or black, you're basically grouping up the whole collective. You know, you're basically grouping up the whole community of people that look like them. So, you know, you don't want to get into like extremist thinking and shit, but yeah, you know, just pick and choose. Use your discernment. God gave you the gift of discernment. Pick out who's for you and who's not. So yeah, man, they got these white only communities that they're trying to create, and I appreciate, the white people that are sticking up for this. These white people are starting to wake up. The ones that are, connected to the spirit and connected to the group, they're tired of the bullshit, and I've been listening and I hear y'all and I salute to y'all, who are really fighting against this. Because really, honestly, the white people who are woke and the ones that are really connected to the humanity, it's going to take y'all to fix this issue. I don't think it's nothing black people can do. I mean, look at all the black people that's tried, we got taken out. I mean, some of the best of the best, got wiped out, so I don't think it's gonna take us to fix this problem in the white community, man. It's gonna take y'all gonna have to do it. And you guys are intellectual. You white people are probably some of the, outside of some of the greatest black people I've seen, y'all probably some of the greatest white folks that I've seen in a long time. It's gonna take y'all to have to go against this devil in y'all community. Just like with black people, it's gonna take us to root this shit out. Ain't no other culture gonna save us. It's gonna take us to save us. And the same thing for white people. Like, yeah, rip to Hulk Hogan, man. People got their opinions about him, and he don't like black people. He don't like this. I don't believe he didn't like black people. I just think he probably just didn't like the state of the culture. I can't speak for him, but I'm still gonna put some respect on his name, because I'm not gonna lie and say I wasn't watching Hulk Hogan and hype as hell wrestler where he would come out and shit. He was lit. He knew he had black supporters and black fans. Sometimes you don't buy into that shit, and he a human just like us. He could have changed, he could have grew. We don't know his deep thoughts and inner thoughts and how he really looked at shit. Just respect the man for what he represented. Wrestling was like shit. That was like the men soap opera. How women got their Days of Our Lives and Another World and all that. Wrestling was like the soap opera from the men. Every rapper had like a little storyline, and every wrestler had a little storyline, and Hulk Hogan come out, turn up, man, with shit. Man, that was it. And he was legendary, and he stayed in it until he aged. You gotta respect that man. Black people watching him, shit. White people, only people got TVs. If he hated black people that much, he just would have opted out the shit. Like, why keep doing this? I ain't gonna perform for these niggers. But clearly he kept doing it because he recognized, hey, they looking at me, they looking up to me too, shit. But I don't want to get into all of that. So rest in peace to Hulk Hogan. And it was a really good jazz musician that passed away as well. I can't think of his name. You guys might know him. He, I stumbled on him when I was in Irvine with my wife, and I used to always put on the jazz channel on Pandora, and that song used to come on. I was like, man, this is cool. I'm out here in the suburbs. I got my little fucking jazz music. You got your little jazz music. And he passed away, man. I was just thinking, like, damn, like he passed away too. Damn, man. Chuck Mangione. I was like, wow. This has been a week, man. This has been a week. Hey, what's up, Anthony Cortez? Hey, you're new. Thank you for joining, man. Yeah, that hit me. I had just discovered him a couple years ago out in Irvine. He used to come on to Pandora, and I used to be like, damn, I love this little song. How some jazz music just puts you in a mood just to get your, when you're doing mundane shit and you put on good jazz music, it kind of transforms the experience. You're like, okay, I guess I can wash these damn dishes and study, And that used to be the music I would listen to. And I was like, damn, he passed away. But, he's in heaven. What better band to be with than the band of the Lord, So God bless him. Rest in peace to his family. To Chuck. Yeah, it's because they're all related to the Epstein files, cleaning house. Ooh, that's a thought. We don't know. That's a thought. That's a really interesting thought. Yeah, the Epstein files, huh? I'm not really educated as much as I probably should be on Epstein. All I know is there was some, inappropriate behavior towards children, which I'm never about. I have kids, so I wouldn't want nobody disrespecting or harming my kids. So one thing I know about Americans, Trump can think he got all the power he wants, but American people do not play with these kids, and I noticed that. That's a good thing. So I don't play with my kids. They're gonna end up finding what's going on with that. America don't play. Like some of these presidents get in office and they forget about the reality of the environment. Like this culture in America don't play no games when it comes to these kids, man. So they're not going to let that Epstein situation go until it comes to light, which is right, because you got to protect our children. You know, they're a lot of times defenseless. They're young. They don't really have a protector, a provider. You know, if their parents are not there, so you got to protect your children. Hello, how are you doing? I'm doing good, Niraj. Harsh, thank you for asking. Trump's about to get a rude awakening, acting like he ain't involved. You ain't never lying. I don't know what Trump is smoking, but you in America. Like, you can think whatever you want to think, but there are some people here who have integrity, honor, and strong values against protecting children and their families. That's one thing I love about Americans. You know, they're not letting nobody marry no 9-year-old and 7-year-old and all that crap. But no, you can talk politics if you want. I'm just not the expert, so don't come to me for the sources, because I don't, you know, all I can go off is what I'm seeing, what y'all seeing, but that's not really my strength. Now, if I was to sit and do research on it, I could break it down, but I haven't, you know, some things that history goes so far back, man, it'll probably take me weeks to really study that. And I got my daughter here, so I ain't got time to really study it like I really, you know, could. But Trump's about to get a rude awakening. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if he's involved. You know, they said his name came up. You know, I don't know, you know, I don't know what capacity his name came up in. He is the president of the United States. So, you know, but he's also a human being, right? He's a man first. So regardless of what your title is, you know, respect comes first, right? So especially for children. So I don't know. I'm not going to say on this channel what, you know, relationship or what he was involved in, because I don't know. You know, if something comes out and you guys have resources, you know, share them. But, you know, I'm not sure. But that's what all I could do is go off what y'all guys were saying. They said his name was involved multiple times, but I didn't really go into what capacity was his name brought up. You know, so I don't want to attach something to somebody and it could be invalid, because then it'll make me look like a piece of shit. So, you know, we'll see when the news come out, you know, what's going on. But yeah, man. This is some really crazy times, man. We're losing a lot of star power, you know, this week. And it's just a really strong awakening to the mortality of your life, man. Appreciate your life. You know, really think about what really matters. You know, I'll be 40 next year and had a really good life. But this is the time to really start thinking about what's priority. You know, before you die, what do you want your life to represent? You know, it says, if your life was a playlist, what would the current track be? That's a good question. If my life was a playlist, what would the current track be? I would play that, what's my man named? Chuck Mangione. I'll play that right now, just out of respect for him and just, you know, me enjoying the day. And man, it's crazy, he passed away, man. I would play that right now. Yeah, I didn't know that was on King of the Hill. I didn't know he was connected to that. But yeah, I would play that just to. Man, it's crazy, man. So yeah, my man over here chopping the wood, them wood chips blowing out in the sky, man. I think I got some in my eye. I'm gonna move over here a little bit. Yeah, man, so they want to start these white-only communities, and I'm just concerned about the message it sends to a lot of, like, and I'm pretty sure there might be some people, white folks in that group, who might have good intentions, you know. I mean, a lot of black folks can't lie and say they never thought about starting their own black communities, right? Shit, I'm sure black people thought about that, like, man, we need something for us, you know. So it's kind of like along the same lines, like, you know, the intentions might be different. You know, black people are trying to just reclaim what maybe was taken away from them, but it's still, for, you know, the younger generations, they could probably argue like, oh, well, you know, you're discriminating against us. So it's all crazy, man. It's all crazy. That's why I was telling y'all last time, I hate racism, because it just snowballs into a whole bunch of other shit that just, it's like, what can you really do about it? You know, what can you really do, man? It's really all jacked up, man. It's all fucking jacked up. Because what I was thinking, like, well, damn, if they get away with doing these all white communities, all black folks are going to do, not to just tie everything to black and white people, but what I can see them doing is being like, well, shit, let's do our own black communities, which you do have areas that are black dominated, but if they made it exclusive to black people, I don't even know how that would work, if that could even work in this country, you know. But it's just crazy, man, where we came, and like, damn, you know. It really is. So I was just looking at the news about that. Damn, they got the sidewalk blocked off. They must be cutting down some trees and stuff over here. Yeah, they doing some work. They over here cutting down trees. Yeah, you can't even really walk around it. They got the whole thing blocked off. I'm gonna have to wait till this traffic go by and they over here doing, man. Oh, they cutting these they over here cutting these trees down. It's so busy over here. I'm not gonna make it life harder, man. I'll just go around this way. So yeah, I'll just come back. Yeah, man, this world that we live in. What about you? If your life was a soundtrack, it says what happened? Hey bro, can I get a shout out? I'm a YouTuber. Hey, what's up, Pet Simulator 88? It says good, I'm going to sub because you don't like racism. Yeah. When do you feel? What do you do when you feel disconnected from your culture? Man, you on fire, Mr. Sinister. I like your questions. You remind me of Agent 327. You guys on YouTube are so cool, man. You guys really, that's why I like coming on here. You guys are really, you know, even though I'm not getting any money or anything, but I don't really need it. You guys are so cool to talk to. I would say when I feel disconnected from my culture, that's a good question, because sometimes it does. Sometimes I do feel like there's a disconnect from certain parts of the black community I'm not really excited about. Like in the Midwest, where I'm from, Detroit, Chicago, it goes down, man. That's why I can't say too much about other cultures and what they need to do and what they should be doing, because my culture in some ways are fucked up. So I can't even really, I look like a hypocrite trying to be the leader of other cultures, and I go back home and it's certain areas I won't even walk in because niggas are just rob you on sight, you know, depending on where you at. I'm from the west side of Detroit, so you have the west side, you have the east side, and you know, even the area, I'm from Dexter, so y'all can look that up, but there's been a lot of gang wars and, you know, history between, you know, Dexter Boys, Zone 8, where a lot of people lost their lives, man, and we still got to work on that. You know, it's gotten a little bit better now, but it's very dangerous where I'm from, you know. So it's like when I feel disconnected, you know, from the community, what I usually do, man, is just isolate and just get along with the word, man. Just connect to the word of God, read scriptures that really resonate with what I'm dealing with, like Psalms, Proverbs, or listen to pastors like Pastor Chris Lokiom, or I never can pronounce his last name, but I love listening to Pastor Chris because he always break it down. I talk to my therapist because when you're dealing with like racial from your own community identity issues, you got to go to a therapist for that. So I'll talk to my pastor. I have 2 therapists I go to that are pastoral counselors. Salute to EFC Church in Irvine. They're Chinese, Taiwanese, and you know, different types of Chinese, and they took me in, man, treat me like family. And my pastor, he's Taiwanese, and he's so cool, man. He took me in and give me some good advice. I have a black pastor too that I talk to, Harry Robinson. Y'all check him out. He's a really good guy to talk to and just a really good man. And I usually have to go to my counselors, man, because my thoughts sometimes get so deep. So I have to really go get an outside opinion, an objective opinion from my therapist. How about you? What do you do? All of a sudden, all these pigeons came out here. Somebody must be feeding them or something. I'm gonna go try to find some shade, guys, and just get some of this fresh air out here. Yeah, this is literally my favorite spot to be out here in Hawaii. What do you do, Mr. Sinister? Nice, this is good right here. What do you do to reconnect? You know, just pray, talk to family, read the scripture, try to stay positive, you know, and do the right thing. My man, Pet Simulator 88. He said he's a YouTuber. Y'all go check him out. How is the stream coming up? Is it coming out all right? Can you guys hear me? Sometimes when I'm doing lives, the video might come in and come out. Yeah, when I get disconnected, sometimes just come out into nature, clear my mind, clear my thoughts, go out in nature and just relax and chill. You know, activate that biophilia. She over here knocked out. Yeah, I may not come back on today, Roostin. I might come back on tomorrow because I need to wash her up, take her out, and just kind of get her to burn some energy. So I may not be able to come back out today. Come back on live today. I did a live earlier. He said, get curious, reconnect through music, stories, food, or conversations with people who live it. Culture isn't just inherited, it's something you can relearn, rebuild, and live. You ain't ever lying. Yeah, you can always rebuild your culture and, you know, start again, start fresh. You know, God calling the birds, so they got to go to their next, you know, the crew leaving. They're like, all right, guys, we out. Yeah, you know, culture is something that can be created based off of your values and what's important to you and the script that you want to write. Culture isn't just a fixed story, it's constantly evolving. American culture used to be a lot different hundreds and hundreds of years ago. How about I say thousands? Hundreds and hundreds of years ago. I mean, even thousands, right? It wasn't always America. And then over time, the culture changed. We're gonna have another cultural change, you know, the next 100 years, you know, Lord willing, we're still here. So why can't our definition of culture, our individual definition of culture change? You know, why can't we grow and evolve too? It goes both ways. It goes both ways. Yeah, so these birds kind of remind me of what's that movie where all the birds showed up? I can't think of it, where they all just kind of came out. How do you bring Black joy into everyday life, even in small ways? Looking at the history and looking at Black people who are really trying to, you know, do the right thing, and Black people who really are fighting. And we got some company guys, they want to hear about Black history too. They're like, go ahead and talk, man, what's going on? Or they might think I got some food or something. I don't really have anything for them. Yeah, just studying Black history, studying people who sacrifice, you know, for our country, and just looking at the work that's been put in and the work that's been done, you know, essentially, you know. and trying to stay positive and share some of my stories and things that I've been through for the most part. And just try to stay positive and be an example, you know. That's a great question, though. Bringing Black joy into everyday life, you know, spending time with my kids and people who investing into the young people and just being a positive example for them and inspiring them to just be great. Don't be afraid to be authentic. As long as you're not hurting anybody, there's nothing wrong with expressing yourself, because that's what separates you from, we're all pieces to a puzzle. What do you say, Zion Visuals? Can you hear me? Am I not coming in through the mic? What's up, Zion? Did you send a question? I'm not seeing anything. Yeah, but that's how do you bring Black joy into everyday life, even in small ways? It's a great question. How about you? How do you do it? Sometimes I'll listen to African, I don't know if y'all heard of this choir called the Wits Choir. I listen to them. They have some really beautiful music and singers. And yeah, I didn't get the Instagram message. I was looking at my messaging. I didn't see anything. Zion Visuals. Did you send it to WYN? Y as in Yankee. N _ forever _ it's 2 underscores. I don't have. How can I send a message in this thing? You have 6,000 followers. No, I have like 9,000 followers on IG. No, I don't have 6,000. Just put your IG inside the chat, because I can't find where I can even chat. I'm on my phone right now, so I'm thinking like I don't have a lot of the settings on here. It's not letting me. Oh, okay, Zion Rippy. Okay, yeah, when I get to the crib, I'll pull you up and I'll send you a request. Okay, yeah, I'll pull you up. Yeah, man, I was calling clients today and just was tired, man. Like, I had so many people. I still got clients I need to follow up with. Yeah, I'll check you out when I get home. And I get off the live. Yeah, man, it was getting overwhelming juggling. You know, I'm basically a one-man shop right now until the finances get better. I'm kind of starting over from scratch. So once my finances get better and I'm able to really, and they will, I trust that they will. This is just a temporary test that I'm going through. God is just testing my heart and refining my faith right now. So once I get through this test and I come out on the other side and finances are better for me, I'm gonna try to develop a really healthier system to manage my caseload and my business. Something that's a little bit more efficient. Celebrating the little things that feel like home, bumping classic songs, wearing your hair how you want it, cracking jokes, only we get, supporting Black creatives and showing up as your full self. Yeah, man. Yeah, absolutely. That's an awesome plan. That's an awesome plan. There's nothing wrong with being proud of, you know, having some love and passion about who you are and celebrating your life. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, usually when you love yourself, you're more capable and equipped to love others. So there's nothing wrong with that. Loving yourself and investing in yourself, things like that. It's a good thing. Taking care of yourself, dating yourself. I was talking to someone about this. Like, sometimes you gotta date yourself. Keep looking for love on the outside and external to you. Things that's external to you change. People change. They have their own life issues, their own life circumstances that they're dealing with. So the more you're focusing on what's on the outside, you're setting yourself up for failure. So you gotta have more balance where you do things for yourself. Take yourself out on a date. You know, do things that inspire you and empower you. Don't focus too much of your self-love on external relationships, whether it's family, your husband, your wife, whoever. Find something for yourself that you enjoy doing. Take yourself out on a date. Take yourself to the movies. Take yourself out to eat. You know, some people say they don't like doing that because they feel so uncomfortable doing things alone. They get like social anxiety, and I understand that. You know, but don't let your anxieties get in the way of you having a quality life. If you don't enjoy taking yourself out, if you don't enjoy taking yourself out to eat and taking yourself out just for self-care, your partner's going to come in your life and do the bare minimum, because if they don't see you as that type of person, they're not going to take you out. They're not going to take you to that favorite restaurant. They're like, well, you don't do it, so what? Why the hell am I going to do it? You know. But if you meet somebody who's a constant jogger, they're walking, maybe they're part of a bike club, maybe they're like going out in nature, you met them and maybe they're a reader, you know, you might get them a book for Christmas or their birthday. You might, you know, get something for their bike. You're like, man, this person really likes this. But if you ain't got no interest that you enjoy doing, it's not about other people getting you gifts, but people are not going to encourage and support a lot of stuff that you're not supporting and encouraging yourself, you know. You got to find yourself. Take yourself out. Take care of yourself, you know. Yeah, so that's what I was talking about today. Just trying to get used to this parenting thing. One of my supporters was telling me to talk about fatherhood and being a father. Being a father is a really enlightening experience when you have your own kids. Hopefully you don't have to deal with like baby mama drama and all that type of stuff, which is going to be drama regardless, but hopefully you're better equipped to deal with it. For me, being a parent, I started when I was like 20. Right before I joined the military, my son was born. I was 20. His mother, she told me, I think when I was in my second boot camp, my C school, it's really like, not like a second boot camp, but it was like a kind of like a Marine version of boot camp for the medics, where they was teaching us how to work with infantry. And I remember she sent me a text, and I was just coming in from the training. I was only there for about a couple of weeks. It was like a temporary training for the Marine Corps. And she's like, I'm pregnant. She's like about 6 months, 7 months. And she was sad and devastated. You know, she was young. She didn't really feel like she was prepared to have a baby. And here I am in Camp Pendleton training with the Marines. She's all the way in Detroit, man. And I'm like trying to encourage her and support her, but then I'm dealing with like the training at the same time. And we was just going back and forth on this baby and just how is that gonna look. And, you know, we wasn't married at the time. So I think she was like living with her grandma, and I'm like, hey, you know, we'll get married and, you know, maybe you can come out here to Hawaii and maybe we can make it work. Mind you, you know, we were still really just developing our relationship. I think we was together for about 2-3 years, something like that, on and off. So she's nervous. She's like, damn, now he want to get married. You know, I was telling you, man, you know, if you could do it right the first time, man, take your time. Like, and I love my son, so I'm not saying I regret anything, but yeah, I had my son at 21, so I was young, you know, but I didn't have him full time. I think when he was born, I was in Iraq. So I remember trying to talk to my first sergeant during Iraq deployments, like, hey, man, you know, my wife is about to have our baby. Can I be available? They had these things called satellite phones in Iraq where you can call to the States from Iraq. So I was like, hey, can I call my wife? She's at the hospital. The baby, he was turned sideways and got tangled up in the umbilical cord. So, you know, we were supposed to do a foot patrol. And I'm like, hey, man, you know, I want to talk to her to kind of support her for the baby. And do y'all guys know they gave me a hard time about that? They was like, oh, you're derelict in your duties and you're not, you know, putting your priorities first. This is war. And mind you, they got officers and higher ups who call their family all the damn time. They barely even work, you know. We're the ones, the Marines are the ones doing the work. We were doing 10, 12, 30. I mean, we were out all day doing foot patrols, dodging IEDs, you know. We were the ones that were doing the work. So they let me talk to her, but they ended up putting me on restriction, man. Like basically punishing me for wanting to, you know, just be there for my son when he was born. And I wasn't there. I was just on the phone talking to her. And man, they put me on restriction, gave me like all this extra duty and changing like shit bags and gasoline tanks all night, wouldn't let me sleep, man. Them white folks was torturing me, man. You know, they really was, man. So it's like Marine Corps is like a different type of white person. Like, depends on, you know, what unit you're with, but some of those white people, man, I think they're really just disconnected from the black experience, because it was like he wasn't at all. And the first sergeant had a black wife. I'm like, dude, how can you not understand the value of wanting to be there for the mom if the baby dies, shit, you know? And he was just like giving me a hard ass time. And I get it, Marines are really stoic and, you know, oh, I'll put all that shit to the side, son. When I was back in the wars in World War I, we didn't have phones and all of that. I'm like, man, my fucking son can die. Like, just let me talk to her to encourage her. Man, these motherfuckers put me on restriction, man, in Iraq, bro. You know, and my leadership on the Navy side, you know, they kind of felt guilty about it, so they tried to come around and apologize eventually. But that was like my introduction to fatherhood, man. Just getting a lot of resistance, a lot of pushback, you know. And when he was born, I think I just came back from Iraq. I went to go see him like his first year he was born. Because when you're with the Marines, man, you're working a lot, man. You're barely back, you know, on the mainland that long before you're working up and you're leaving again back to Iraq, you know. So I didn't really get to spend a whole lot of time with him, you know. And then I took some pictures of him when he was born and stayed with his mom and, you know, try to celebrate his life and be there. But me and her was having issues because I wasn't there, you know. I was deployed, you know. So she felt a certain kind of way, and then you got postpartum depression, just all kind of shit. And all the pictures that I took of my son that first year when I came back from that deployment, dealing with all that hell, then I got robbed at gunpoint, you know, right around the corner from my grandma's house. I remember I was got into an argument with my son's mom, got put out. I went back to my grandma's house, and my friend, one of my close friends, stayed around the corner from her. So I remember going to help him out. He needed some money for food, and I was like, I got you, man. Let's go get some Coney Island, and, you know, I got you. On our way back from Coney Island, man, we got robbed at gunpoint, man. They had the gun up to my stomach. You know, I had this little fly Christmas jacket on I got, man. They took everything. Took my phone, pictures of my son, you know, took the jacket off my back. I had this little fly, little Rockaware coat, and took the food out of my hand, man. I thought I was gonna die, like, because the gun was like up to my gut, you know. My friend, he's so funny, he was like, man, I thought you was gonna do like some combat, some karate or something. He's like, I ain't know what to do, Randy. I just got a froze. I was like, I feel you, girl. I was like, I ain't gonna do nothing to put our life in no danger, man. You got a gun up to your stomach, shit, just take it all, you know. And that shit ain't worth my life, you know. And they let us go, man. After they took everything, I ain't even see them dudes coming, man. We was walking from Coney Island. This is on Grand River. People from Detroit know. And I'm just walking, you know, and you got to be aware of your surroundings, man, when you in these dangerous neighborhoods, man. Like, shit, you know, I'm coming from Iraq and living in Hawaii. You know, a lot of people in the hood still struggling. Them niggas ain't got the first and the 15th paychecks, you know. So, yeah, man, they took me for it. I remember when they put that gun up to me and robbed us, it was like, the gun was up to my gut. My friend, he had a gun on him, but it wasn't like, my man put the pistol like to my stomach, like I could feel the barrel. Man, it was like the winter time. I swear to God, guys, it felt like it was like 90 degrees outside. Like, it felt like all sense of temperature in the environment was gone. You know how you be outside, even if you're getting robbed in the cold, you're cold, right? Man, they put that gun up to me, man, and robbed me, man. It was like, it felt like it was like 80 degrees outside. Like, it felt like I felt like my spirit was just preparing to leave, you know. Like, I'm black, I'm in Detroit. What the hell these niggas gonna keep me alive for, right? In my mind, I just thought I was done. And they let us go by the grace of God, man. I was having nightmares about that shit years later, but they let us go. And I remember we ran away, and literally right around the corner from the incident was the police. And they saw us running, and they pulled us over. The police jacked us up. They was like, yeah, we heard somebody was going around robbing people. I was like, man, we just got fucking robbed. The police, they thought it was us and shit. These were black cops. You know, those niggas jammed us up, man. I'm like, man, we the one that got fucking robbed, man. These guys, you know, we don't know where these guys are at. The police is about to lock us up after we almost died, bro. So I can't be mad at the police. You know, they don't know who is who a lot of times, shit. So, but it did F me up, though. I'm like, damn, how you get robbed and the police are right around the corner, and then you about to go to jail because they think you the robber. So I'm like, man, I was like, psychologically, man, I was fucked up the first year my son was born. It was just the devil, the enemy, was just throwing everything at me, man. He was throwing everything at me. And that's on top of coming back from Iraq, getting mistreated out there. And I'm still active duty, mind you, at this time. So I still had to go back to the Marines to prepare for my second deployment. So it was just a lot my first year as a father. I felt like God was really just showing me, like, you know, be prepared, man. This is fatherhood, man. You don't know what's gonna come your way, but still be a man, still show up for your son. And you know, it's hard to have trauma and pain when you're a new father and you got a baby, because you got to show up, man. So you got to put your feelings and shit to the side. So I think that's why some men, we're so good at like compartmentalizing our emotions. Like, we'll be suffering, but nobody won't know about the shit because we don't want them to think we're less of a man because we're so focusing on our pain. So that's why when I'm working with clients and they're struggling with, especially men, and they're struggling with their feelings, I understand, because if you don't show up for your kids or for your family or for your job, these jobs don't give a damn. Family don't give a damn. If you a grown man, they're like, well, you got to just, you know, what she want us to do, right? So, yeah, man, fatherhood for me was an experience starting off. Yeah, I just turned 21, so I had to be a long distance dad. Me and the mom didn't really get along, so, you know, that's, you know how that go, you know. Bad stuff is being talked about you, you know. People don't really respect you because you're not there. They got all these different things about you, and, you know, I wasn't perfect, you know. I think I was cheating and messing around, you know. I was fucked up, man. So, you know, whatever I got, you know, I must have deserved it, because, you know, two wrongs don't make a right, shit. So fatherhood at 2021 is really difficult. This was like back in 2006. This is many years ago. Mama, go ahead and take her to the beach, man. Let her run around for a little bit, play in the water. She like, damn, nigga, I'm trying to sleep, man. You talking and storytelling and all that. Anybody trying to hear that? I'm trying to go to sleep, man. So yeah, man. Fatherhood was almost traumatic for me, man, in my early 20s, because so much pain was being thrown at me from so many directions. Me and my father didn't really have an everyday relationship, so I didn't really have no reference, you know. So if you're gonna be a young father and you don't feel like life has any meaning, and you don't have anything to give your life meaning, think harder, man. Right? Because kids are a beautiful thing, don't get me wrong, but you don't want to bring them into an already chaotic situation between you and a mom in a chaotic world, you know. It's like, really think about that. So yeah, man, that's basically it. You know, I'll tell you guys more stories, you know, about my life. And my son now, he'll be 18 this December. You know, we're closer than we used to be. You know, he's opened up a lot more, but I could tell there's a lot of social things, that little quirks that he has, that if he was with me every day, I feel like he'll have more of a model of how to approach situations. And since I wasn't there every day, I was like the, you know, every few months, every other year, you know, dad. You know, when you're around mom every day, you pick up a lot of those feminine characteristics, right? The attitudes, the emotional mindedness, the real negative disposition, and that kind of like self-righteousness. So, you know, I love my son. I know he watches my videos, but I do wish I was there consistently, but that would have required for me and his mom to work things out, and it just didn't work. You know, it just didn't work. So, but he's a good kid, man. He's an artist, really talented, really, really intelligent, really mature, a lot mature than I was at that age. So he's not, you know, jacked up or nothing, but it's just, you know, as a dad, you notice certain things, you know, in your kids, like they don't even notice, you know, you just notice. So yeah, man, daughter, she just woke up, so you know what that means. It's time to work. You what, mama? They're doing construction, so they done cut the road off. I would have to walk around the other side of the park. I think I'm just gonna take her to the beach, man, and just let her swim around. But thank you guys for tuning in. I won't be able to do another video today. I won't bore you guys with with my videos all day. I just wanted to kind of check in, show some love to you guys. But I'll be back on tomorrow, sometime tomorrow, and then we'll do some more research and kind of break this life thing down. But I hope you guys have a blessed night. Thank you so much for y'all been really helping boost up my channel, man, with the views and the likes and the comments and all of that stuff. I really appreciate you guys, you know. I hope this information is somewhat useful, you know, to your situation, and I hope you guys have a blessed day.